Let's look at a couple idioms today that are very common for American English. Now, in case you're new here, hey, I'm Haley, your certified American accent coach, and I love to talk about pronunciation, prosody, sometimes idioms. We talked about in part 1 what an idiom is and how to pronounce these 3. And in part 2, we're breaking down what do they mean. When someone says, "This is my bread and butter," do they literally mean that the item is their bread and butter? No, because it's just an expression. What they mean is that these are the basic things they need to survive. So if they're saying, "Oh, I can't do my job without Copilot, it's my bread and butter." First off, eye roll, because that's not true, but that's their bread and butter. They're saying, "I cannot do this, I cannot survive without this." A better example would be if someone was wanting you to quit your job to do a dream that you had. You would say, "I can't quit my job. That's my bread and butter. That's my income. That's what I survive off of," right? Okay, let's look at the next one. Take the cake is when we're referring to something that is very remarkable. It stands out. It's the winner above all things. You're more likely to say this when someone's talking about something maybe foolish or ridiculous, and you're kind of saying, "Haha, you're the winner." So a proper example, if someone is really notorious for giving excuses to why they're late for work, and then today they say that the bus didn't show up at their house, something that's clearly a lie, you could say, "Wow, I've heard a lot of excuses, but that one takes the cake." To remember, this one is not always negative. You can use it in a positive way. Somebody's recipe takes the cake. It is the winner. It's the most remarkable. Okay, now let's look at the last one. In a nutshell is basically another way to say in summary. It originates from this Roman writer who wrote an Iliad. The story that he wrote was so concise or so short that it could fit inside a nutshell. That's the same concept. When you hear this, typically the person is saying, "Use as few words as possible, please." So maybe they'll say, "Okay, tell me how things are going in a nutshell. What's the project deadline in a nutshell?" They're wanting to know briefly. Don't give them a whole big explanation. They want it to keep it short. This is just a few, but I'm curious, what are some expressions that you've heard recently that you're dying to know what they mean? Comment them below.